Let me be blunt with you. Nobody is coming to save you in 2025. Not your boss, not the economy, not the perfect opportunity. And that's not bad news, that's power. Because if no one is coming, it means the responsibility is yours. And responsibility is the gateway to freedom. You owe it to yourself in 2025 to stop waiting for permission. Permission to start. Permission to fail. Permission to be bad before you're good. You've already paid the price of waiting with wasted time, quiet regret, and that voice in your head that keeps asking, what if? Here's the truth most people avoid. Your potential doesn't care how scared you are. Your future doesn't care how tired you feel, and your excuses, they don't protect you. They imprison you. You owe it to yourself to stop lying about why you haven't started. It's not lack of time. It's not lack of resources. It's not lack of talent. It's the fear of being seen trying and failing. But listen closely. Failure isn't the opposite of success. Avoidance is. In 2025, you owe it to yourself to build the kind of discipline that doesn't depend on motivation. Motivation shows up when it wants. Discipline shows up because you told it to. That means doing the thing when no one is watching. That means keeping promises to yourself even when breaking them would be easier. Because every broken promise chips away at your self-trust, and every kept promise rebuilds it. You owe it to yourself to choose discomfort on purpose, the workout you don't want to do, the conversation you're avoiding, the skill that makes you feel stupid at first. That discomfort, that's the price of becoming someone new. And here's the shift that changes everything. Stop asking, what do I want to achieve? Start asking, who do I need to become? Because once you become that person, the habits, the standards, the mindset, the results have no choice but to follow. 2025 isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. It's about showing up again after you mess up. It's about deciding that your future deserves more effort than your excuses. You owe it to yourself to live a life that doesn't require explanations. A life where you don't have to say, I almost tried. I could have. I should have. You owe it to yourself to look back at the end of 2025 and say, I showed up. I did the work. I didn't quit on me. And if today is the day you decide that, then this year doesn't just change your calendar. It changes your identity. Radical self-responsibility means accepting a truth that most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. Everything that shows up in your life is, in some way, connected to the choices you make. Not just the big, dramatic decisions, but the quiet ones, the habits you repeat, the thoughts you tolerate, and the standards you allow yourself to live by. In 2025, there is no room for pretending that your future is controlled by luck, timing, or other people. Those things exist, yes, but they don't decide who you become. You do. Outsourcing your future is comfortable because it removes the pressure. When you blame circumstances, you get to stay the same. When you blame people, you get to feel justified. But comfort is expensive. It costs you growth, confidence, and momentum. Radical self-responsibility demands that you look at your life exactly as it is and say, this is mine. And not just the wins, but the mess. Especially the mess, because the moment you own it, you gain the power to change it. Ownership starts with habits. What you do daily is not accidental. It is a reflection of your priorities, whether you like them or not. Your results are not random. They are the math equation of your actions repeated over time. If you want a different outcome in 2025, you don't need more motivation. You need better systems and the courage to stick to them when it gets boring or uncomfortable. Discipline isn't punishment, it's self-respect in action. Mindset is the next battleground. The stories you tell yourself shape the limits you live within. Every time you say, that's just how I am, you are reinforcing a ceiling. Radical responsibility means challenging those stories instead of hiding behind them. It means recognizing that your past explains you, but it does not excuse you. Growth begins the moment you stop identifying with your limitations. Taking responsibility also means giving up the fantasy of fairness. Life doesn't owe you clarity before action or confidence before effort. Waiting to feel ready is just another form of avoidance. Responsibility is choosing to move forward anyway, knowing that clarity comes from movement, not thought. In 2025, ownership is the decision to stop reacting to life and start deliberately creating it, one choice at a time. Discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. It is evidence that something is changing. Growth has never been gentle, and it has never been convenient. The idea that progress should feel good is one of the biggest lies people tell themselves to justify staying where they are. Comfort feels safe, familiar, and predictable, but it is also limiting. It keeps you operating inside boundaries you already understand, repeating patterns that no longer challenge you. If your life feels too comfortable, it's not because you've arrived, it's because you've stopped stretching. Every meaningful upgrade in life requires you to step into uncertainty. New skills make you feel clumsy before they make you confident. New responsibilities expose your weaknesses before they reveal your strength. Discomfort shows up as doubt, frustration, and resistance, and most people interpret that as a signal to stop. But the truth is, discomfort is the price you pay to expand your capacity. It is the entry fee for becoming someone you've never been before. When you avoid discomfort, you aren't protecting yourself. You're training yourself to quit. Each time you choose ease over effort, you reinforce the belief that hard things are optional. Over time, that belief shrinks your tolerance for challenge. What once felt manageable starts to feel overwhelming, not because the task changed, but because you did. Growth demands that you do the opposite, lean into the resistance instead of running from it. Discomfort also strips away illusions. It reveals how serious you really are about the life you say you want. Anyone can talk about goals when the path is smooth. Commitment is proven when the work is repetitive, unglamorous, and uncomfortable. That's where identity is forged, not in moments of motivation, but in moments when quitting would feel like relief. The most dangerous form of comfort is emotional comfort. The need to feel certain, confident, and validated before taking action. Waiting for those feelings keeps you stuck. Confidence is not a prerequisite for action, it is a byproduct of surviving discomfort repeatedly. Each time you choose to stay in the discomfort instead of escaping it, you build trust with yourself. You prove that you can handle more than you thought. Discomfort doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're paying the cost of growth. The question is not whether it feels hard. The question is whether the hard thing you're avoiding is the exact thing standing between you and the life you want. Most people set goals hoping their identity will magically change once they achieve them. They believe that success will finally make them confident, disciplined, or worthy. But it doesn't work that way. Outcomes are not the starting point. They are the consequence. When pressure hits, you don't rise to what you want. You fall back to who you believe you are. That belief system quietly dictates your behavior long before results ever show up. Your identity is the lens through which you interpret effort, failure, and discomfort. If you see yourself as someone who quits when things get hard, you won't need an excuse to stop, you'll find one automatically. If you see yourself as someone who follows through, you'll push even when motivation disappears. The difference isn't talent or intelligence. It's the story you repeat about yourself when no one else is listening. Goals without identity change are fragile. You can want a better body, more money, or a stronger mindset, but if deep down you believe you're inconsistent, undisciplined, or undeserving, your actions will always drift back to match that belief. Self-sabotage isn't random, it's alignment. You subconsciously act in ways that keep your identity intact, even if that identity is limiting and painful. Changing identity doesn't start with affirmations or pretending to be someone you're not. It starts with evidence. Every small promise you keep becomes a vote for a new version of yourself. Every hard thing you do when it would be easier not to chips away at the old story. Identity is built through behavior, not intention. You don't think your way into becoming someone new, you act your way there. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. One heroic effort won't rewrite who you believe you are. Repetition will. When you show up daily, especially on the days you don't feel like it, you begin to see yourself differently. That shift changes how you respond to obstacles. Instead of asking, "Can I do this?" you start asking, "What's the next move?" Once identity shifts, outcomes stop feeling forced. Discipline feels natural instead of exhausting. Growth feels challenging but expected. You stop negotiating with yourself because your standards are no longer tied to mood. The results that once felt out of reach begin to appear, not because you chase them harder, but because you became the kind of person they naturally follow. The real work is not chasing goals, it's deciding who you are willing to become and proving it to yourself through action, day after day. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are inconsistent. They rise when things are exciting and disappear when things get hard, boring, or uncomfortable. Building a life on motivation alone is like building on shifting ground. It might hold for a moment, but it won't last. Real change comes from what you do on the days you feel nothing at all. That's where daily non-negotiables matter. They remove decision making from the process and replace it with commitment. Non-negotiables are not about doing everything perfectly or pushing yourself to exhaustion. They are about deciding in advance what must happen, no matter your mood. When you rely on willpower, you negotiate with yourself. When you rely on systems, you execute. Systems turn effort into routine, and routine into results. They create momentum even when enthusiasm is gone. Discipline is often misunderstood as restriction, but it is actually freedom. When your actions are pre-decided, you don't waste energy debating whether to show up. You simply do. This consistency builds trust with yourself and self. Trust is the foundation of confidence. Each time you keep a daily promise, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who follows through. That belief compounds faster than motivation ever could. Daily promises should be small enough to be realistic and strong enough to matter. Overloading your schedule with unrealistic expectations leads to burnout and broken commitments. The power is not in doing more. It's in doing what matters consistently. One workout, one focused work session, one intentional choice, repeated daily. These actions quietly reshape your life. Systems also protect you from your weakest moments. When stress hits or life gets chaotic, you don't rise to your best intentions. You fall to your established routines. If your routines are solid, progress continues even under pressure. If they aren't, everything stalls. That's why non-negotiables must exist before you feel ready or confident. The real transformation happens when discipline becomes identity. You stop seeing daily effort as something you force yourself to do and start seeing it as simply who you are. The gap between intention and action narrows. Progress becomes inevitable, not because you're always motivated, but because you've built a structure that carries you forward regardless of how you feel.